Sawadee-ka. Thank you for joining us on Newsline for Thursday, April 24th of 2014. I'm Sandra Hanut-Saha. In today's top stories, a police officer was killed after falling 15 meters from a helicopter during a training exercise. And in business news, most Southeast Asian stocks lost ground yesterday. And now on to today's headlines. The Constitutional Court agreed to give Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra 15 more days to defend the charges against her in the case of the transferred National Security Council, or NSC chief, to Win Plinsi. The court extended the deadline by 15 days so that the premier could prepare her defense against the charges that were filed by Senator Paiboon Nititawan and his colleagues. Mr. Paiboon earlier requested the court consider whether the transfer of the NSC chief was unconstitutional or not. Police officers were stationed in various areas around the court, and stringent security measures were enforced. In addition, an explosives recovery team from the Royal Thai Police was summoned to monitor safety around the area. The team also deployed electronic sensors and police dogs to detect suspicious objects. Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra has asserted that rice in the government's stockpile has not gone missing, as suspected by the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or NACC, urging the latter to conduct an inspection of the government's rice stock to determine whether rice was really missing. Ms. Yingluck wrote on her Facebook page that figures in the documents from the Rice Mortgage Accounting Subcommittee did not take into account the 2.9 million tons of rice in the possession of the Government Warehouse Organization and the Marketing Organization for Farmers, refuting the claim that some rice had gone missing. She suggested that for the purpose of transparency, the NACC should seek more evidence and inspect the rice stock itself. The suggestion has been forwarded to the NACC through Deputy Commerce Minister Yanyong Pongrat. Minister Yanyong visited the NACC on Wednesday to submit a letter asserting that inspections of the rice stock in warehouses carried out in March by Ministry of Commerce officials and members of the Rice Stock Inspection Committee found that the entire 18.7 million tons of rice was intact and another 1.1 million tons was being fumigated. The Pheu Thai Party thanked the Election Commission for meeting with political parties to discuss the holding of the upcoming general election. Pheu Thai spokesman Prampong Noparet thanked the EC for the latter's effort and for suggesting that the general election could be held within 90 days or by July 20th. However, he asserted the political parties involved in Wednesday's talk viewed that the poll should take place within 45 to 60 days because the only solution to the current situation was an election. He added that the longer the poll was delayed, the more damage the country would suffer. Election Commissioner Puchong Nutrawong said after the discussion with delegates from the 58 political parties that those at the talk concluded that Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and related persons would be invited to the EC's head office on April 30th so that the EC could discuss the new elections time frame with the government. Representatives of small-sized political parties have requested the Prime Minister to draft a royal decree specifying that the general election is to take place either on June 15th or 22nd. New Democracy Party leader Suratin Pichan has led members of 32 small parties to the office of the Permanent Secretary for Defense in a bid to hand a letter to Prime Minister and Defense Minister Yingluck Shinawatra relating to the date of the new election. In the letter, the group said it wished to see the Premier issue a royal decree draft that would require the election day to fall on June 15th or June 22nd at the latest. Such request came on the heels of Tuesday's meeting between the Election Commission, or EC, and 58 political parties, during which the majority supported the poll date of July 20th, proposed by the EC. Mr. Suratin, who also attended the talk, said he shared the same view with the rest that the election must take place as soon as possible. Deputy Secretary General to the Prime Minister, Police Major General Thawat Bunfeung, who accepted the letter on Ms. Yingluck's behalf, affirmed he would forward the message to the Premier promptly. He said he agreed that any further delay in the election process could be detrimental to the nation. The Election Commission, or EC, has given endorsement to 4 additional senators to be and is set to consider the legitimacy of 15 others within April 28th. EC Secretary General Puchong Nutrawong revealed that the Commission convened to deliberate the complaints filed against winning senatorial candidates from 5 provinces, namely Pathum Thani, Samut Prakan, Samut Sakhon, Singhburi, and Phrae. Citing insufficient grounds, the complaints were dismissed for the representatives of the first 4 provinces, and official endorsement was granted. The case of the Phrae representative, however, will need to await further investigation. As a result, out of the 77 seats available for elected senators, 62 seats have been officially filled. The other 15 seats will remain vacant until the winning candidates are certified by the EC, which will need to happen no later than April 28th, the 30-day deadline after the senatorial election. One of the candidates waiting for the EC's consideration is Bangkok Representative Kunying Jaruwan Mentaka, former Auditor General and member of the now-defunct Assets Scrutiny Committee. The People's Democratic Reform Committee, or PDRC, leader Suthep Thaugsuban and other members have held a meeting with high-level executives of the Metropolitan Electricity Authority, or MEA, in a bid to push for more reforms. The group held talks with Deputy MEA Governor Wiarat Jansiri Watana and members of the MEA Labor Union at their office in Chitlom. Suthep told the press that the meeting was aimed at campaigning for political reforms, which focus on an end to the country's widespread corruption. The move is part of the PDRC's daily campaign for national reforms. He added that another rally is slated to be announced on April 30th. The PDRC has launched their campaign earlier this month to urge government officials to defy the government and to join the cause of the anti-government protesters. And the Region 1 police chief has ordered an investigation into the death of Police Senior Sergeant Major Monchai Bunpairot, who died after falling about 15 meters from a helicopter during a mock rescue drill by Special Force Police on Wednesday. According to Provincial Police Region 1 Commissioner Nared Nantachot, officials have yet to determine whether the accident was caused by equipment malfunction or miscommunication during the drill. Police Senior Sergeant Major Monchai was rehearsing a rescue airlift mission along with other Special Force policemen at Wipawadi Rangsit Traffic Police Station in Bangkok when he fell from the helicopter onto the concrete floor below. He was unconscious after the impact and was taken to Mayo Hospital, where he died. According to his colleagues, Police Senior Sergeant Major Monchai was well seasoned in aerial operations. The incident occurred just weeks after 2 police cadets plunged to their deaths after their equipment malfunctioned during a parachute training exercise. And that's the end of the first segment. We now take a short break, but coming up next, the Bank of Thailand has decided to maintain the benchmark policy rate at 2%. Don't go away. We have the details.
เมื่อมนุษย์ทำลายสมดุลทางธรรมชาติแล้วมนุษย์ก็เป็นผู้ประสบภัยพิบัติจากธรรมชาติ ชนทั่วประเทศ
Moving forward to the establishment of ASEAN Community in 2015. The Public Relations Department has launched a 24-hour English language satellite TV channel, NBT World. Broadcast in C-band format, viewers can stay up to date on what's going on in Thailand and countries in the ASEAN region. NBT World can be watched by GMMZ set-top box on channel 194 and PSI set-top box on channel 198. NBT World, Voice of ASEAN Community.
Welcome back to Newsline. And in our business stories, Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Kittirat Naranong has conceded that the collection of taxes for the entire year might be much lower than targeted, a projection that has prompted the government to look into the plan to raise value-added tax. Mr. Kittirat made known that the amount of tax collected over the first half of this fiscal year, from October 2013 to March 2014, stood at about 1.1 trillion baht, which missed the target by 20 billion baht. He also indicated a high possibility for the whole year's figure to be far less than the targeted 2.25 trillion baht. The minister attributed the unsatisfactory tax collection to the economic slowdown, which stemmed from the ongoing political turmoil in the country. In an attempt to prop up the collection figure, he said the government was contemplating on adjusting the VAT rate up to 10% after the policy to peg the rate at 7% expired in September. Such an increase would need approval from the Cabinet as well as the Election Commission. Meanwhile, as Moody's might decide to downgrade Thailand's credit rating if its GDP growth this year was below 3%, Mr. Kittirat expressed hope that the domestic political situation would improve soon so that the economy would be able to gain back some ground in the latter half of the year. He was confident the annual growth figure would be around 3% and not less. The Bank of Thailand's Monetary Policy Committee has decided in a 6-1 vote to maintain the benchmark policy rate at 2%, while the Thai economy is expected to grow at a slower rate than earlier anticipated due to the unstable politics. Paibun Kiti Sikangwan, Assistant Governor of the Central Bank's Monetary Policy Affairs Committee, said the meeting had closely considered the domestic economy and inflation rates, as well as the global outlook. The U.S. economy has recovered while China is at some risk in its financial sector and from a slowdown in its investment activity. Meanwhile, the Thai economy's first quarter is likely to contract more than earlier expected due to the political malaise. Private sector investment and tourism have been affected, while the export sector is recovering slowly but not uniformly over the whole sector. Pressure from the rate of inflation is close to the estimates. The Ministry of Commerce has set a goal to distribute 1 million tons of rice via the Agricultural Futures Exchange of Thailand, or AFET, by June this year. The Internal Trade Department, under the Ministry of Commerce, in collaboration with the Public Warehouse Association and AFET, on Wednesday organized an auction of rice from the government's rice pledging scheme. 14 rice traders participated in the auction. Deputy Minister of Commerce, Yanyong Pongrat, said it was the 10th time that the government arranged an auction of the rice. 162,344 tons of over 212,900 tons of rice from 12 provinces nationwide were auctioned. Around 700,000 tons of rice had been sold via AFET, with 300,000 tons more set to be auctioned before June, the deputy minister said. Mr. Yangnong confirmed Thailand's rice exports were not affected by the rice price drop and expressed his confidence that rice prices would not further decrease. The Thai Chamber of Commerce, or TCC, has recommended focusing on border trading as a way to boost revenue for the country, as trade in Thailand has been sluggish this year. Isara Wongkusongkit, the president of the TCC, revealed that his organization supports border trade expansion by coming up with appropriate strategies to increase trade across countries. One of those strategies is to transform several temporary border trade areas and make them become permanent areas in order to increase trading activities and attract more tourists. In addition, the TCC has recommended that transportation and logistics routes all be interconnected and to increase the number of trading activities within economic hubs. He also advised on developing trading relationships across neighboring countries. Border trading in Thailand has expanded by 7.23% since the first 2 months of this year, and trade volumes have reached 99.2 billion baht. And most Southeast Asian stocks lost ground yesterday, led by Singapore, with investors booking profits after recent gains, while shares in Thailand bucked the regional trend to close at a critical resistance level. Stocks in Thailand and Malaysia bucked the trend, rising 0.59% and 0.05% respectively. Analysts expect the SET index would face a correction soon, as it has reached a critical resistance level between 1,420 and 1,430. Meanwhile, Singapore's Straits Times Index fell 0.6% on profit-taking after a winning streak of 6 days. It had closed at its highest level in nearly 11 months on Tuesday. Keppel Corporation Limited was the top loser, with shares dropping 3.45% to their 1-month low, as the stock went ex-dividend yesterday at 30 Singapore cents. KPLM has lost 5% since April 16th, when it reported a 5% drop in first quarter net profit compared with a year earlier. The Jakarta Composite Index and Vietnam's benchmark VN Index both edged down 0.1% each, and Philippine equities reversed their 4-session winning streak with a 0.23% fall. And before the break, let's have a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
ทำลายสมดุลทางธรรมชาติแล้วมนุษย์ก็เป็นผู้ประสบภัยพิบัติจากธรรมชาติร่วมสร้างอนาคตลดภัยพิบัติระดมพลังพลิกฟื้นคืนผืนป่าในทุกชุมชนทั่วประเทศ
Forward to the establishment of ASEAN Community in 2015. The Public Relations Department has launched a 24-hour English language satellite TV channel, NBT World. Broadcast in C-band format, viewers can stay up to date on what's going on in Thailand and countries in the ASEAN region. NBT World can be watched by GMMZ set top box on channel 194 and PSI set top box on channel 198. NBT World, Voice of ASEAN Community.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline, and first up in our international news, the search for missing ferry passengers entered its 9th day, for more than 100 still missing after a South Korean ferry capsized. The ferry sank on a routine trip from the port of Incheon near Seoul to the southern island of Jeju last Wednesday. Of the 476 passengers and crew on board, 339 were children and teachers on a high school outing. Only 174 people have been rescued, and the remainder are all presumed to have drowned. The confirmed death toll is 159. Earlier, the South Korean Coast Guard said the weather, wind speed, and wave conditions are conducive for rescue and search operations. South Korean officials are still characterizing the operation as a rescue, although marine experts say that it is unlikely that there are any survivors. Some 10,000 lower-ranking Bolivian soldiers entered day 2 of a strike on Wednesday over demands for military reforms aimed at opening opportunities for non-commissioned officers, or NCOS. Thousands of soldiers marched peacefully in front of the Defense Ministry, calling for a more equal treatment. The troops say they are victims of racism and discrimination, claiming they cannot advance in the military because they cannot enroll in the country's elite military academies due to their indigenous backgrounds. The strike comes following a breakdown in talks between soldiers and their superior officers. Wives of the soldiers, or NCOs, have also been participating in the protests. Although the strike has been peaceful, tensions are high after 4 of the most visible protest leaders were discharged from the military. A strong sandstorm swept Gansu province in northwest China Wednesday afternoon, reducing visibility to less than 20 meters, according to the Provincial Meteorological Center. The sandstorm, the strongest since 1996, according to reports, started around 1340 or 1:40 in the afternoon in Dunhuang County. The Jichuan City Meteorological Center, which includes Dunhuang, issued a sandstorm red alert, the highest level alert, forecasting that visibility would be reduced to less than 50 meters throughout Jichuan on Wednesday evening. The office also forecast that a cold wave would bring a temperature drop of 8 to 10 degrees Celsius from Wednesday evening to Thursday, with the lowest temperature falling below 0. As well as Dunhuang, neighboring counties were also affected, with Gaozhou, Zhubei, Yumen, and Jinta counties also issuing sandstorm red alerts. The strong sandstorm also suspended 10 trains in the provincial capital Lanzhou on Wednesday afternoon. Train services later resumed with winds decreased in the evening. It was a special day for 4 Peruvian manatees, 1 male and 3 females from the endangered aquatic species, sometimes referred to as sea cows, were set free in Lake Mona along the Yanayacu River in the Peruvian Amazon. The manatees spent between 3 and 7 years in the Amazon Rescue Center in Iquitos after being recovered from illegal animal traffickers who kill the vulnerable sea mammals for meat or sell them as pets. Scientists and conservationists accompanied the 4 manatees, named Liberty, Yani, Yanayacu, and Sol, and prepared them for a return to their native waters. The center's director, Javier Velasquez, said the animals' release was part of a promise they make to each rescued manatee. The center has freed 14 sea cows in the past 4 years as part of their conservation initiative. The newly released mammals were equipped with a radio transmitter in their tails so that they can be monitored for a period of 1 year. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook by typing in NNT, or check out our website at hinews.prd.go.th/newsing. where you can stay up to date on News Today at the top of every hour. Have a wonderful day. I'm Sandra Han Utsaha. สวัสดีค่ะ